All right, welcome to PCOS Conversations with Julie and Laura. We are excited to be chatting with you, and my name is Julie, and I am a fat positive dietitian that helps people with PCOS reject diets and feel more at home in their body, which I think is really important. And this is my friend Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hello, greetings. Uh, my name is Laura Burns, and I'm a body liberation yoga teacher. I do yoga classes, retreats, workshops, all kinds of things, courses, community with Julie, and everything is just about body liberation and about being able to be present and embodied and finding peace with your relationship with all of those things. So, yeah.
Yeah, welcome to PCOS Conversations. We like to dig into some different stuff that you don't hear anywhere else talking about PCOS, and we like to start with a card pull. So, are you ready? Do a card pull.
Oh, I'm ready.
So we should probably tell people what these are.
Yeah.
Maybe I can see them in my woo thing. Oh, there you go. Anyway, I tried too hard to get the reflection to work. But this is a card deck that Laura and I put together with some prompts, and we hope that they bring self care, a reason to pause and think about it differently. There you go. Your light is much better than mine. And so today's prompt is: we are not free until everyone is free.
Oh, there it is.
I know, I finally figured out where to get it exactly.
Oh,
I can
no.
spend a lot of time just doing this part of the show. We are not free until everyone is free. So, to you, the listener, I don't know what comes up for you, but we're going to share some thoughts about what comes up for us.
Yeah, so when I hear that, I don't know, I think about a lot of things, but the first kind of couple things that come up to me are in the context of PCOS, because that's where we are, that's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
That in the PCOS conversations that I was a part of, or when I was looking for community or resources or support, the conversations that I found felt very exclusive.
Mhm.
um, and I felt like the person who I am was not really wanted or welcomed or considered in those conversations. Being a fat person who doesn't want to have an adversarial relationship with their body, who doesn't want to participate in intentional weight loss. um, as an Asian person, I felt a little left out because I didn't see um, representation. I didn't hear any conversations that sounded like things that I have experienced. What else? I don't know. Other things I'm sure I'll think of in the moment, but those are the things that I first think of. And then I think of seeing other people also trying to access those spaces and also having that same experience, but for different reasons,
Mhm.
right? And so I think about the fact that Julie and I say people with PCOS,
Mhm.
and that's a choice. That's a decision to be inclusive instead of exclusive, because I saw people who were non-binary, who
Mhm.
were trans, who didn't feel who felt excluded and were being excluded
And we're
by
being
the language. They were actually being excluded
Mhm.
with the language of many of those spaces. And that's not to say that if you say things like sisters, like
Yeah.
SIS or
Yeah.
SYS or whatever, that you're a bad person. It just means when you say stuff like that, you are excluding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what's
And it
happening.
doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you're intentionally trying to do that. And so I'm not no shade to anybody who does. I'm just saying for me, I don't want to do that, because if I can, I feel like we always say it's if I can do this little thing that's not hard for me to do, and that makes it feel better for other people, why would I not? And so we are not free until everyone is free. Obviously we didn't invent that statement. That's a
Yeah.
thing that is used in many places and many circumstances and movements, but the sentiment is the same. I am not free, I am not liberated until all of us who have PCOS are included in the conversation, are welcomed, and really part of the community, and not just like even just like paid lip service to being part of the community, which is I feel like what happens a lot.
Yeah, yeah. You have to be like, the conversation seems to be definitely like, I don't know, there's just like a few key things like um fertility and women and wanting to lose weight. Like, and if you're not really into those three things at the
Yeah,
same time, uh, then there's
yeah,
not
there's
really a
space for
space.
you.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and so there's some research that happens for PCOS, or with research on PCOS and like how to prevent it and treat it and the origins. But when they're focusing on just those three key areas, or like those three areas is like where all the research funding goes, well, then how does that really help everyone? And so that's one thing I think about. And I also think about too, like eating disorder recovery kind of spaces where um, people in straight size bodies talking about being recovered and how recovery is possible for everyone. And that was something that I know when I first started working in eating disorder recovery spaces, like that was something I really didn't understand, like the argument, because of as a straight size person, I'm like, hey, everybody here can recover. If I can eat a cheeseburger, so can you. But then really, like, recovery access is not the same for everybody, of course. So if someone feels like they've recovered, well, buckle up. A lot of other people need some help. So like, let's help change the culture, right?
Mhm.
So I think about that too. Like, if you're feeling at home in your skin, a lot of people still aren't feeling that way.
Yeah, and that actually makes me think of another example is like access to medical care.
Oh yeah.
So for people with PCOS, having access to a gynecologist or to an endocrinologist or a
Mhm.
dietitian or a therapist, um, so many uh, like medical professionals that you might want or need to have access to. And for a variety of reasons, maybe access is not available to you financially. Maybe you don't have health insurance. And even if you do have health insurance, it still costs a lot of money.
A lot.
I have health insurance and it's still
Yeah.
a problem for me.
Well, yeah, because it's a syndrome. It's not considered a disease, and there's so many like different loopholes that insurance companies will find to not cover it. And even things like, as a dietitian, I love when people have access to like what their insulin levels are. That's a really hard to come by lab value for many people in the United States, at least. And so, yeah, sometimes healthcare doesn't really help anyway.
Yeah, and then like even like in the context of healthcare, looking at like maybe you have health insurance, maybe you even have money to like pay for the things that you're going to have to pay for, but if you have lived in a fat body or you're a person of color or both, and you have anything else stacked on top of that,
Yeah.
um, you have probably experienced a lot of oppression and marginalization when trying to access healthcare. Um, and so what you learn is it's not safe for me to try to access healthcare. And so many of us, myself included, go for very long periods of time without accessing it because it doesn't feel safe. You make the trade off of like trauma or not dealing with your health issues.
Such an easy decision. Like,
Yeah. And it's like
yeah,
a lot of the time, like
trauma.
trauma
Yeah,
is going to win, like not wanting to like have any more trauma on top of like the daily continued trauma of living in a fat body or being a person of
yeah, yeah.
any of these things. And so access is not available, or it's essentially not available to you. And so for those who for whatever reason it's easier for them to go to the doctor, like great, but also
Yep.
let's not leave anyone behind. So how can we help people? And I think that's one cool thing about our community is that there are people who like have, had more healthcare, had a little less healthcare, and are able to share resources and say like, hey, this is what I learned when I went to a dietitian and we talked about supplements, and like this is not medical advice, but like here's what I learned about this.
Or like a
Here's what
physical
I took,
therapist
how
or
it
something.
affected me,
Yeah.
just like
Mhm.
so. But yeah, so there's like so many things. I'm sure there's many more things that go along the lines of like, don't leave anyone behind. Um, but I know we need to move on to like another portion of our.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh, it's so important. So important. I think about if you're someone listening who's like a medical provider, healthcare provider, think about how you can connect to that to help your clients or your patients with PCOS.
yeah, yeah, and we actually hear from a fair number of medical providers of varying types who say like, hey, like I'm trying to do better, and so I found you, and I'm learning things, and like that's awesome. Like, oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, willing to like learn and do things a little bit differently and take feedback. That's the
Mhm.
gold, gold.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, yes, we probably should transition to the next segment.
Yeah. So normally this is the time when we would answer a question from one of y'all. We don't have any questions this time. So first I will say, put your questions in the comments below because we love to answer them. And then second, I will say, because we don't have any questions, we thought that we would share with you a little kind of snapshot from the community, which is every month we have a theme that we have continued conversations about all month long. And it is March 1st when we're filming this. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's March 1st, 2021. And so it's the first day of a new month, and we have a new theme, which is body image. Ooh. And so we have every week a prompt, like usually a question. And so we thought we would share that with you and ask you the question. We're going to turn it around this time. We're going to ask
Oh,
you.
we're so sneaky.
I know we're very crafty. So Julie's going to read you this question, and then we would love, even if you want to hit pause, just to go to the comments and answer the question, tell us what you think, and then we'll each answer the question also.
Yeah. So the question this week in our community is, how has PCOS affected your relationship with your body? How? How has it affected it, Laura?
Oh my god. Oh, not at all.
What are you talking about? Why do we even need to talk about body image?
Oh gosh. Okay. And what's funny is in February, every month either Julie or I host like a monthly chat about a different topic. And in February, we had a body image chat that was so juicy that we had to do a part two.
Yeah, there's
And
a
so
lot
part
to
two,
unpack, right? There was so many
yeah,
like,
there's so much. And we honestly we could use a part like 3, 4, and 5. Like
yeah.
it was so much. But so I just did the part 2 this weekend, so it's like fresh on my mind. But for me, body image or my body image has been affected by PCOS in probably every way. I don't even know, all the ways, every single way you could imagine, from like the size of my body and fat phobia to symptoms that are visible that I see, that other people see, that other people will comment on.
Oh yeah.
First of all, fuck you.
Like
What?
your body is none of their business. Yeah.
Why are we commenting on other people's bodies, especially on something that's like probably clearly not something I love? But yeah, so like visible symptoms that people comment on, fat phobia, from outside, internalized fat phobia that I have, that's been ingrained over a lifetime. What else? Body image stuff. I don't know. So some of the symptoms that you don't see, like fatigue and stuff like that, like has created, and can, sometimes it's worse than others, but can create a pretty adversarial relationship with my body. If like I'm constantly tired, like I don't want to be tired anymore.
Oh, that's gonna be exhausting in
It's
itself.
yeah, and that's also exhausting. And so it's like making everything worse. So I don't know, like probably everything, everything is affected. My mental health, like that creates that adversarial relationship
Mm-hmm.
with my brain because of anxiety and depression, and mood swings.
Yeah.
And I mean PCOS, because it affects like so like all the parts of you, right? Emotional, physical,
Mm-hmm.
energetic, like I mean everything. So I mean it's such a huge topic. That's why we had to have a part 2 and could have kept going. There's just so many things to unpack there, so many ways that PCOS affects our relationship with our bodies.
Yeah.
And and people, everyone is different, and so people will have like maybe more on the symptoms or more on the size or more on the mental health stuff, but it's all there. It's all there.
Well, and the way traditional PCOS care is done, even how you're told you have a diagnosis, for the most part, there seems to be some patterns, some themes of you must now just fight your body. And
PCOS warrior.
yes. Ooh, that's like a popular hashtag. I didn't even connect with that. Yeah, like you're trained to, oh no, I need to be scared of what my body's going to do, and I need to fight it, and I can't trust it. Like there's all these like foundations laid,
Oh,
you
I
know?
can't trust it. That really, I felt that when you said that.
You sent it across the Zoom. But yeah, like I think that's like a big part of what people with PCOS are taught. Like, don't trust it. Especially, like, I think of cravings, of course, as a dietitian. Or you're tired. Too bad. You got to go exercise. Instead of like, oh wait, my body actually has some information for me.
Yeah, or you're not really tired.
Yeah, lots of that shit.
Yeah. Oh man.
Really amazing too, because people from all over the world are experiencing this condition. That is like the pattern, the themes that I hear. That is like consistent, no matter like where people are. Which in itself is amazing. Like the it's like fat phobia is like while we're sleeping, it's all talking about how it's gonna intervene and teach people to distrust themselves. But that's really gonna impact how a person experiences their body. And then before most people are diagnosed with PCOS, we always ask people on social media, we'll talk a lot about like, when did you go on your first diet, or when did you learn to hate your body? And for so many people, it was like 7, 8, sometimes even earlier. And when we're 7 or 8, that's when our body image is forming. Like that's when we're starting to like understand that we have this body that's separate from everything else, and it's ours, and it's important, and
it's wrong, and you need to fix it.
Yeah, then when you're learning about that concept, to learn also if there's something wrong with it, or it's broken, or needs to be fixed, or it's too much. That's significant for how you're gonna walk.
Well, that feels heavy right now.
It's very heavy. Should we lighten the mood?
It just feels like heavy for me because I know it's true. I'm just like, oh, and like I don't know. I think that like I know that everyone has like body image struggles, every single person ever in existence, but like sometimes it just feels really heavy, like this burden that we carry around since we were 7, since we were 8.
Yeah, that's a lot to carry. And the thing that I gather is y'all have been carrying it for so long, you forget you're even carrying it. Like it just feels like this is just what life is. And no, like people without PCOS aren't experiencing it in the same way.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little jealous right now that there are people that don't carry that around. And then I'm like, I don't want to feel jealous of that, but like I do. I want to not carry that around. And I carry it around much less now than I used to. Like the weight is significantly reduced because I've done a lot of work, but it's still there. Like I'm not allowed to put it down because the world is always going to keep putting it on me.
Yeah.
I can like take it off, but like they're going to keep putting it on my shoulders.
Yeah. Well, you got to constantly be like batting it off,
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh. Well, with that, maybe we should transition.
That happy thought. I mean, the thing is, I would always prefer to be realistic,
Yeah, me too. I'm like, it's not happy. It is.
Happy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not gonna like just gloss over stuff, and we're not a cool vibes only.
Yeah, but like the cool thing is that you can do work. There's like so many things you can do to lessen the weight of that, so you don't have to carry around so much. And you can have people around you who get it, who understand you, who support you, and they can help carry the load also. And like that's what's
I'd say that's why we were like, we all need to come together, because nobody's free until everyone's free.
Don't leave anyone behind. Don't leave anyone carrying that by themselves.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Full circle.
All right, let's pull a topic.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now is the time in our video where I pull out my box and we pick a topic. I'm going to shake it just because it's fun. And we have a bunch of new topics today. So look at that. It's like 2 colors now.
Oh, that's special.
Like doubled. We put a bunch of new ones in. Ready? Watch me pull an old one.
Sometimes that happens.
Oh, it's a new one. Oh God. I got scared. Oh. All right. It says, I always show it to you, but you can never read it.
I can never read it, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I did. Fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, look at my handwriting. Everyone judge my handwriting. Look how awful.
Whatever. I worked in hospitals for years before we had computer documentation.
Fatigue. I'm yelling. I'm so excited to talk about it. I have chronic fatigue. Like, I'm not diagnosed with chronic fatigue, but I sure as hell have chronic fatigue.
You're tired chronically.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so let's
No diagnosis needed.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted all the time. I was just talking to somebody about this. Like, it's not that I'm like sleepy all the time, although I do yawn a lot. Number one, okay, oh my God, I'm going off on, I'm like already getting distracted. I yawn so much, and people will comment on how much I yawn, and I'm like, I'm tired. I don't know what to tell you. I'm tired. I don't know.
They're offended by your yawns?
Yeah, they're like annoyed by it, I think.
Oh.
I don't know what to tell you. This, like,
Oh,
don't talk to me then.
Huh.
I'm gonna yawn. But yeah, so I was just talking to somebody about this, and I was like, it's not that I'm like, I want to go to sleep in every moment, because honestly, I don't nap well, and Julie knows.
Yeah,
We talked about
I
this.
love a nap, and you yeah.
But it's that I'm like bone tired,
Yeah.
like that end of the day, it's been a day kind of tiredness a lot of the time.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you don't experience that, it's really hard to understand what that feels like. But like think about that, like you've had a hard day, you've been up a really long time, your body is like heavy, you're like dragging yourself around, and all you want to do is like lay down and not necessarily go to sleep, but you just want to fucking lay down.
Yeah.
That's how I feel probably 80% of the time. Like, and I'm not exaggerating, probably 80% of the time.
Does it feel like a heaviness that that's the way people have described it to me too, and I wonder about it, like, of course I do this, but like I wonder about it like physiologically, like what's going on. And for a lot of people, some of the fatigue will lift as they find ways to lower insulin, and they're eating enough, and they're sleeping. There's a lot of ands, but and so I wonder, that heaviness is how much of that is insulin. There's so much of it in the system, and the body is also like the cells of your body are not getting any energy either, because there's no glucose going in because insulin's not working. So body starts,
and it goes like, there's days that are, times there'll be like chunks of time, and so I think that I'm sure that has to do with like, how my PCOS is doing in general.
Right. Yeah.
But even when it's like doing well, I still have chronic fatigue. It's just maybe not 80% of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's like a lower percentage. But
how's the fatigue been during pandemic versus non-pandemic? Now you have that difference to look at.
I have realized over this past year that it's really stress induced, I think. And like stress for me comes in many different ways. It's not just like, it comes internally, it comes externally, it's from work, it's from relationships, it's from the world. And as a highly sensitive person, and somebody who really soaks up energy, I can be doing fine. Like things are good, nothing terrible is happening, but like I hear a story, or there's like this war is going on, or this natural disaster happened, and that can like stress me out as much as if like I had a loved one in the hospital. I mean, it's like nuts to me how something else that's happening can impact me so strongly. Like something I have no connection to other than empathy and compassion for human beings. So I don't know, man, it's hard for me to not
come off, and that combination happens with PCOS, like the highly sensitive empath kind of experience with PCOS. And I don't know, like maybe it happens more than without people with PCOS or people without PCOS. And that may be where that lower, like just feeling tired quicker, and I don't know, just like how the world can affect you physically quicker than other people. I don't know, I wonder if there's something to that. Like you may be accessing something that others just aren't connecting to.
Yeah,
And
that's
it kind
interesting.
of sucks because it sounds like it hurts, but it also, you have insight maybe before other people do. But
Mm,
I don't know, like kind of the canary in the coal mine kind of metaphor.
hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's a really interesting question.
hmm,
I obviously don't know the answer, but I would be interested, and
yeah.
I'm sure nobody's studying that.
No, I'm sure not. I'm sure not. Um, and especially PCOS research is already hard to get. And if you're not researching the O word in PCOS, you're not getting a
Yeah.
dime.
Yeah. Mhm.
um,
Uh,
but yeah, maybe if you are not highly sensitive and you're like, no, I'm quite cold with most people, let us know. And you have PCOS, let us know in the comments. But oh goodness. But yeah,
yeah.
the fatigue part is really it's like a double whammy in a sense when I think about it, because of the chronic pro-inflammatory state with PCOS, you're already going to be more tired than everybody else. And then the higher circulating insulin, cue the yawn, the higher circulating
I
insulin
know.
makes your body not get energy from food as well. And so it's doing all these other things to try to make you have energy. One of them is like sending you extra cravings. But then
Mm,
you're told, no, 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 no,
don't eat that.
those cravings. No, you can't not listen to the cravings. So then you're pushed to diet and take in less energy and exercise more. So it's like this double like I don't know, attack on your energy levels
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Um, oh, what was I just gonna say? Oh my God, I forgot.
So there is some connection with brain fog and memory loss.
That's also another topic in the box that we put in. And I was telling Julie before, but I'll tell you now, whoever's watching, that I'm like super stressed right now. So my normal memory issues have turned into also now brain fog. And so I keep forgetting what I'm doing or what I'm talking about. So sorry if that happens in these videos. But so talking about fatigue, I was just thinking about the food piece that you were or the food issue, not like peace. Uh, um, but like something that I learned from Julie, I did her course before I ever like really met her, and the permission to just eat food. It's like it's so simple, but it's like so loaded. It's such a loaded thing, and I've spent my life being told, that I don't have permission to eat, and so even though I've been doing like anti-diet work for myself for a long time and have been working on all these things, like just having that permission, like from a dietitian in regards to PCOS and cravings and stuff, like you have permission to eat food, and that like there's a concern, like, are you eating enough? And I always say, like, literally no one has ever asked me if I'm eating enough. um, and then like learning about like protein and like trying to be a little more strategic with like what I'm eating when I'm eating it, and not restricting but adding in. That has been like such a um such a great shift for me. And so like I don't have to feel bad, because even when I was like, well, I'm not dieting, I don't believe in intentional weight loss, like I'm gonna eat what I want, if I would eat like a big bowl of pasta, right? Because like that's I don't have a sweet tooth, I have a pasta tooth.
That sounds fun.
So like that's always what I want. Like given the choice, I'm like, yeah, I want like a big bowl of spaghetti or something like that. Um, like I would still feel a little bad for it, even though I was allowing myself to eat it. And I was like, I don't want to feel bad about this, and I know that I shouldn't feel bad about this. Diet culture is strong and alluring.
Yeah.
But now, like, it's so great. It feels very freeing for me to say, like, eat like whatever size bowl of pasta you want and pair it with enough protein.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
What
so,
can you add? What can you
yeah,
add?
what can I add
Mm-hmm.
to help me like feel better after I eat this?
Does that affect then your energy levels?
Yeah, it helps. It helps a lot. So that's where I was going with this, is like
Yeah.
being able to add in, and I wasn't restricting before, but being able to add that in and having the freedom to like eat as much as I want over here, and also make sure that you eat, enough over here. Um, it really has helped me to kind of control my energy levels through the day, especially like, like kind of most people I think get that like kind of 2-3 p.m. energy dip.
Yep. Yep.
Um, and so I used to drink more coffee, but because I've had like more troubles falling asleep, which is another topic in the box.
Another topic.
Um, I have a new caffeine cutoff, and so I can't do that. And so now I'm trying to use food to help keep me from like having that slump. Anyway, that's a really long thing to say. Basically, like being more strategic with my food and making sure that I'm eating enough has really helped a lot, because my kind of go-to move, which is not good, is no breakfast and often skipping lunch.
Oh yeah, you're gonna
Which is
not have any energy.
basically not eating until like 4 p.m. and then I'm ravenous and I just eat like literally I don't even care what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that's not the move, but that's what I was doing.
Well, and there's people without PCOS who do that for their whole life, and
Mhm.
they feel fine. You know,
Yeah,
and there's maybe some people with PCOS that do that and they feel fine too.
I
And
just can't do
for some
that.
people, it doesn't feel like how they want to feel.
Does
Um,
not work for me.
yeah, yeah. So like if fatigue is something that is like a symptom of PCOS that is getting in the way with your life,
Mhm,
making sure you're eating enough, considering what you can add,
mhm,
do whatever you can to help lower insulin levels can
mhm.
help too.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, I cut you off.
You're good.
I
You're
was just gonna say like something that's been useful for me as part of my like yoga practice
Uh-huh.
is like meditation and breath work, also called pranayama. You may have heard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like not into any of those things, like you totally don't have to like be some woo woo whatever. But there's breathing techniques that can help give you a little boost of energy. And so I find that really helpful, especially like if I'm like feeling just like I'm just dragging, but I got stuff to do and I really need to get it done and I
Yeah.
can't like go lay on the couch and just like zone out for a while. And so I thought maybe I could show that. Is that cool?
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see. I'd say, do you have like any of them handy in your brain? And it sounds like you
Yeah.
do. Let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So if you're watching this and you're like intrigued, maybe give it a try. Or if you don't want to try it right now, you can come back to this and watch it later. So let's see. I'm trying to pick one because I don't know, I could go off on this for a long time. It's literally my job. But so here's a good one that I really like that like pumps me up and can help give me energy. I'm gonna scoot back so you can see my belly.
Okay.
Okay. So here, like when you breathe, your belly like will expand and contract. Um, and so you're like making yourself bigger and smaller. And if you exaggerate it, like what I'm doing right now, you can really feel that movement and you feel your abs are actually working. Your diaphragm is really moving. And so the breathing technique that I wanted to show utilizes that movement as like a pump to
Mm-hmm.
bring air in and out of your body. And so you inhale and then exhale like halfway and then push it out. And this is like a super weird way to breathe. You would never do this. But so the first one you exhale half and then you push and your body will like automatically suck in.
Mm.
So just whoever's trying this, go ahead and just give that a try. What we're looking for is like the big exhale to trigger that automatic pulling in. So
They make you laugh every time.
no, just because it's like funny, like this is not my usual audience of like doing this with.
Yeah, 'cause other people would be totally used to this, right?
Yeah, it's like a normal thing to do, and so it's like a super weird way to breathe. But so basically, it it then like creates this like action, and it's getting a lot of air in and out of your body quickly. And
Mm.
so you can do it for 20 seconds. You can build it up, do it for a minute straight. I try to do it for 5 minutes a day, and I don't necessarily do it 5 minutes at a time, like each time. Um, but it for me and for many people can really like provide like an energy lift. Anytime First of all, anytime you can bring more air into the body, um it can help you to like just feel like a little more lifted energetically, like you got a little more zip going
I
on
go to
because
the doctor and they make me like do the breathing. They're like listening to my lungs and they're like deep breath in and out, in and out. After the four like in and outs, I'm always like, wow, I feel really awake now. Like,
Yeah, so whenever you get that air going, it can really help with that. And so even if that breathing doesn't work for you, it doesn't feel comfortable, or you just don't like it, even if you can just take like really big breaths, because like our natural human beings' natural breathing is really shallow.
yeah,
Most of the time, we're not breathing very deeply. So even if you want to do that weirdo way of breathing, but try it and see. But if you don't want to do that, just take a bunch, like 10 big breaths, and like see how you feel. That helps me.
yeah, awesome. Well, I feel awake now. So,
Yeah,
but it's time to say goodbye.
yeah. So
Um,
um, now's the time when I say, please like this video. If you please subscribe to our channel. If you want to be sure and see the videos that we post, please comment below. You can answer our question from earlier. You can ask a question about anything that you want, or you can just comment on thoughts that came up as you watch this. And come find us on Instagram. We are at PCOS Body Liberation. Our website is the same thing, PCOSBodyLiberation.com. And
yeah, join our community if you're interested in more.
yeah, check out the community. All the info is on the website, or you can ask a question below. It's basically a space for people with PCOS to come together in a non-diet environment to talk about resources and shared experiences, to support each other, to make friends with people who like already start with an understanding of what you're going through, which is honestly a little magical. So,
Magical for sure.
all
Here's
right,
that.
cheers. Like we've just ended up.
And PCOS Body Liberation.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.